Ravens have a huge game against the Bills this Sunday. This is their head coach in Buffalo, Sean McDermott, getting ready for that one on Sunday.
I wouldn't say. I would say it's probably team to team for us. As far as we're concerned and how we do things. Yes, there are some things that are hands off, and I let those people do their jobs. That's what they're qualified to do, and build those key relationships. I think there's a connected piece of that from a bigger picture point of view of week to week, day to day messaging, and also there's checking in with players and who needs a little bump once in a while of, hey, you're doing a great job, man, or I believe in you. I think those things are important.
John, what have you learned about Brandon Codron?
He's a rookie, right? And all rookies come in, and we think we know some things about some, and others. In this case, with Brandon, we didn't know much. Just because of, I say we as coaches, because he didn't spend a lot of time with us. It wasn't a situation that, at the combine, you get to spend time with some of these young players, and you can kind of get to a point of the tank is at least a quarter full, and then you fill in the rest from there. So I think he's done a really good job of doing a very difficult job. There's a lot that goes into that job in particular, other than just catching the football, but that is number one, catching the football. Beyond that, you've got to be a great decision maker, and I think that's sometimes overlooked or undervalued, and there's just so many decisions that you have to make in judging a ball. Do I field it? Do I let it go? And then the communication piece with making what we call Peter calls on shorter kicks, sometimes that are affected by weather and whatnot. So it's more than meets the eye in terms of the job description.
Hey, Sean, yesterday Todd Lincoln at Baltimore said the head coaching interview process is unfortunate, having to do it while you're still playing. If you agree, what is the right process?
Oh, man, it's been a while since I've been through, that. I can tell you from what I experienced, it's challenging to balance both, to be as prepared as you want to be for both situations, playing and then also, being able to interview at your best. And I do appreciate the league and their approach and how it's, like I mentioned, it's changed over the years, even since I went through it. They're trying to get it to where it's fair and conducive to being your best, and so I appreciate that from the league standpoint. And at the end of the day, we all have to, we all go through the same set of rules, so it's fair across the board.
Early in the week, did you help Joe carve out some time this weekend to do those interviews?
We communicated on that, over the last couple of weeks. At the end of the day, Joe has my full support, number one. I think he's earned that. And then two is, everything in moderation, right? So keep the main thing. And but Joe's wired in the way that he is. He's a good person. He's a really good coach, and he does a great job of keeping things in proper order.
John, you've got a bunch of guys on this roster who have been with you for the past couple seasons, who have kind of lived through when you get to this round, and the results haven't always been what you guys wanted. Just getting a read from them, talking to them this week, is just, what's in the past is in the past. Is, what do you think leads to that mindset? And to the other side of that is, how challenging is that to really push what has happened in the last couple of seasons and truly just kind of focus on what's ahead Sunday?
We don't live in the past. We learn from the past, but we certainly don't live in the past. I do think it's important to learn from it, though. And then overall, the journey for most teams or most even individuals who are trying to get to the top of the mountain, very rarely is it just a straight, clean line trajectory-wise. So sometimes you got to go through some adversity, and you have to learn from it. And listen, for some people, they give up, they turn around and go back down. We don't give up here, and we keep working.
given the fact that, this is my follow-up to that, is you have this roster this year is full of some new faces that haven't gone through that. Is that almost maybe necessary at this point when you've gone through a couple years of the misfortune and disappointment in the playoffs, and just have some guys who truly don't know what that's like, and maybe that can somewhat radiate in the locker room of, again, just keeping the attention to Sunday?
I think that's the natural evolution of, building a roster year to year, number one, and then I'll take you back to the early 90s, were those years unsuccessful years. Those 4 years, I don't know if you were here then or not. Maybe you were. A lot of people were. And to me, those are great years, in terms of what those teams were able to accomplish. To some, in particular, outsiders who don't live and support the Bills, those are disappointing years. I don't think those years will ever be replicated again, at least in professional sports. To do that 4 years in a row, and I look to those years and I'm saying that was a heck of a run, right? So, again, it's how you orient it in your mind. I think that's really where it starts.
What's the take with blitzing a quarterback like Lamar Jackson?
You got an hour to talk about it. I don't. I should have said, Tim, I don't have that much time. I wish I did. We can talk about it, but no, it's there's certainly give and take, to both approaches. So he's unique for all the reasons that when you watch the television or the highlights every night, after he plays, he's all over the TV screen, right? And really, there's about 4 or 5 guys, Josh being one of them, Lamar being another, who are faces of the NFL right now, which and rightfully so.
There's never been more former players with a voice on all these different platforms. I know that you're not concerned about that, but the consistent thing that I've seen is Bill's defense up front especially isn't big enough to deal with the Ravens. What do you say to that? Because it's kind of how you guys were built, and especially with the speed element at the second level. Are you big enough to deal with them?
Well, I guess we'll find out. There's really no way around it at this point, and I believe in our players wholeheartedly, and I wouldn't want anybody else out there right now than them to go against this offense. They're one of the best offenses I've been around in terms of going against in my 20-plus years in the NFL, and the challenge is a huge challenge, and very few, if any, have been able to stop them. So I think we know what lies in front of us, the challenge that is, and it's a big task to stop them, let alone manage them. Like I said, very few have been able to do that, even manage them. So I know our guys. They're not. They don't look at themselves that way, I should say. They don't look at themselves that way, and I love that about them. Good? All right, thanks, guys.
Oh, it is almost time. Sunday, 6:30. We can call it like a double take because, of course, we get the Ravens and the Bills and that big-time divisional game, also streaming on Paramount+. But halftime, you'll want to see a special sneak peek of 1923 Season 2. Good watching all across the board. We'll be excited for it all.